XDC continues to be one of those altcoins that just shines in front of us, right? It's one of the biggest projects, but you wouldn't know it because it's one of the most, overlooked projects as well. A lot of people don't want to talk about XDC because it's not, a big flashy thing. It's not something that, gets a lot of views. It's something that, a lot of people just don't care about because it's boring. But this is the type of projects that you should 100% be locked in on. Why? Because they're actually building out solutions that will be adopted. It's also one of the few majorly utility-based projects that has been getting fully adopted and lining up partnership after partnership, but also being added to organizations that are there, that are also created at the forefront of the trade finance revolution, which we know trade finance is an industry that's so ripe for disruption. It's still mainly based on paper-based process. So when we think about that, we look at tokenization, we look at digitalization, and XDC is right there. And it has always been there for years now. This is why XDC is at the top of my list of projects to not just hold short term, but long term as well. Welcome back to the channel, everyone. My name is Nick. For those that are new to the channel, hopefully by the end of this video, you do become a subscriber. If we think about short term though, let's take a quick look at some price action. When we look at the XDC chart right now, this thing looks beautiful. So far, we have been maintaining support. I've been watching this thing try to attempt a big breakout. We should eventually get a big breakout on this chart by roughly the beginning of March. It could happen at any point. But one thing that I have been also looking at is the structure here, right? So we have a significant low followed by a higher low. Now, the big thing that will allow us to flip bullish on XDC is creating a higher high. So the second that we start to push over that upper level, XDC immediately flips bullish in terms of structure. Now, what will be majorly bullish is if XDC actually retakes its previous high, which was right around roughly 16 cents. It was only just a few cents off of its all-time high back in 2021. If we actually look at this, I mean, it was 25, almost like 26% away from creating a new all-time high. When XDC finally breaks out and goes into price discovery, I think that that's when a lot of people's eyes will start to open, and that's when they will start to realize that XDC is not here to play games. XDC is a giant that should have never been ignored, and it should have never been, overlooked because of how significant the connections are. But let's stop beating around the bush and let's actually talk about it. Let's go over here to some of the events that recently happened. Number one was GTR Mina. Now, they have been at a lot of events. I mean, the schedule for XDC and the team behind it, I don't even want to look at it because of how many, it's an event after event after event, and it has been like this for the last 12 plus months. I mean, guys, their schedule must look crazy at this point. And remember what I've always said about these events. A lot of people overlook what happens at these events, but these events are fully packed with massive discussions, major networking. I mean, even here, when you look at the back, the left side of this image, right? Like, look at all of this stuff in the background of these events that big players can finally learn about XDC. You look at these integrations, you look at the compliance here, you look at, the players that they're already partnered up with or working with. XDC is in a completely different league of its own, similar to like Hedera, right? I've always said that about Hedera as well. These projects, guys, you got to focus on the facts behind these projects. They're networking and talking with some of the biggest players out there around these industries that they are disrupting. And in this case, it's trade finance. Now, outside of this, there was also another big event that just, actually passed by us, which was RWA London Summit 2025. Now, this kicked off on the 24th, and this was the world of RWA tokenization is evolving rapidly, and we're thrilled to be a part of the conversation alongside top financial institutions and blockchain leaders. Now, this is what was happening at the event. Expert discussions on RWA tokenization and institutional adoption, networking with leaders from Fidelity, State Street, BNY Mellon, LSEG, and more. By the way, all of which are partnered up with specific names like Archax, for an example, that are exploring tokenization and even crypto custody services. You can't make this up. Then, of course, we have showcasing how XDC Network is revolutionizing RWA markets with scalable, efficient blockchain solutions. As a platinum sponsor, XDC Network is proud to support this premier industry event, fostering innovation at the intersection of blockchain tokenization and global finance. And here we actually have an image from that event where we can see, of course, XDC being one of the only platinum sponsors here. Next is some pretty big names that are under the gold sponsors and even the silver sponsors tab. And we can see all of the facts behind the network. But this is such an exciting overall event, not just because of the spotlight put on XDC, but because of the individuals now that are a part of these events from some of the biggest names in the TradFi and the Web2 space. We are starting to see the institutions embracing, the tech, which we knew was only a matter of time. Now, on top of this, if we go over here to an insight from the RWA London Summit, we have it's bringing big players into action. XDC Network recently announced the launch of their first 4 funds on its platform in token form in collaboration with Archax Exchange. Yeah, this was a huge announcement. The FCA regulated digital asset exchange broker and custodian, which is the first meaningful milestone in this partnership. These fund tokens represent 4 of the world's largest money market funds including Aberdeen, BlackRock, Fidelity International, and State Street. So wait a second, hold up. Let's take a step back right now. So these 4 money market funds that are now tokenized are from some of the largest players out there like Aberdeen, BlackRock, Fidelity International, and State Street, 2 of which we just mentioned were at this major event, this major summit. Remember, State Street was there, Fidelity, BNY Mellon, LSEG, and now we have Fidelity International and even State Street's money market funds tokenized on the XDC network. And will be followed by others from the 100 plus available through Archax. This is why I focus on those partnerships, even if they are a little bit old now. Going back to December is when we saw Archax and XDC partner up. And we even have here that innovation and evolution of digital assets has been at our core since inception. The underlying blockchain DLT technology and tokenization are set to reshape traditional financial markets by creating an entirely new set of financial and trading instruments, and that's through tokenization. So when we think about what's happening here, these 4 money market funds are a game changer. We're excited to hit this milestone with XDC Network poised to become one of the railways of the future of finance. I mean, this is crazy. If we go over here, we could see the announcement itself, right? XDC, an enterprise-grade Layer 1 blockchain, today announced the launch of the first funds on its platform in token form in collaboration with Archax, the FCA-regulated digital asset exchange broker and custodian. This builds on the previous partnership announced between XDC and Archax for real-world asset tokenization. The first fund tokens that are live represent 4 of the world's largest money market funds from providers including Aberdeen, Fidelity International, BlackRock, and even State Street, and will be followed by others from the 100 plus available through Archax from a variety of asset managers. We're excited to be taking this next step in our partnership with Archax and unlock access to some of the world's largest money market funds with transparency and efficiency. Tokenized access to money market funds addresses a growing demand from institutional investors for regulated digital asset financial products. There are currently 11.5 billion tokenized RWAs on chain, with some projections estimating the value could reach $16 trillion by 2030. By bringing these established investment vehicles onto the blockchain, XDC Network and Archax are creating new opportunities for improved liquidity, faster settlement, and reduced operational cost. Providing digital representations of major money market funds opens up potential new audiences for these types of yield-bearing products that historically have been challenging for some to access. Now, we got to remember, right? Money market funds have trillions of dollars tied to them. I think right now the actual value of money market funds in the US is about $6 trillion. So when we think about how big, the tokenized form of these will be, if you're going to be able to trade them 24/7, 365 in a very efficient way because of the underlying network, why wouldn't that value grow significantly? Now, we also have that we're excited to hit this milestone with XDC Network, a firm that is poised to become one of the railways of the future of the finance industry. Now, we also have the implementation that leverages XDC Network's delegated proof of stake consensus mechanism, which enables, of course, transactions with sub-second finality and near zero gas fees. Again, this is what I mean by the efficiencies of these networks is the big focus when we look at these tokenization efforts, because you bring these things on chain, they're not just going to sit there. They're going to be traded 24/7, 365. They're going to be, locked up in DeFi protocols as well. It opens up so many doors of opportunities. It's insane. With our platform's robust performance and functionality, though, we have the ideal protocol for real-world asset tokenization for institutions who want to work with regulated entities like Archax. And we're excited to be taking the next step in our partnership with Archax and unlock access to some of the world's largest money market funds with transparency and efficiency. And you know what's crazy about this is that this is just one of the first major steps for real-world asset tokenization on the XDC network, because we know that trade finance will also be fully tokenized on the XDC network, or at least a big portion of it will. But we're also going to start to see everything around the financial market tokenized. Equities, bonds, debt will even be tokenized. When we think about this, this is just a starting point. This really is just the beginning of a much larger picture, which is, of course, the future of finance. They really do mean it. And you know what's crazy? We got to think about it like this. Right now, on chain, there's $11.5 billion worth of tokenized RWAs. It's 2025. They're projecting within 5 years, we will reach $16 trillion. Think about just how, I want to put that into perspective real quick on just how insane that actually is. $16 trillion. And we're only at $11.5 billion. That means that we will see a total of 15.9 roughly trillion dollars moved on chain over the course of the next 5 years. And remember what I said, once we hit that $1 trillion mark, trillions after that won't feel the same. It's kind of like when you make $100,000, right? To get to that 1 million mark, it's a lot easier than going from 0 to 1 million. Because when we think about how challenging that first 100K is, it's extremely hard. And it works the same in all of these markets, right? Like the first 1 trillion will be extremely challenging, but after that, the next trillion will feel like nothing. It will happen so quick. That's why I think that the scale of tokenized RWAs on chain will happen so much faster than what anyone thinks. That $16 trillion is just a starting point, in my opinion. So with that being said, I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys definitely leave a like, subscribe, turn notifications on because more free content. You guys are more than welcome to follow me on Twitter and join the free Discord down in the description below. And with that being said, guys, it's been Nick. Thanks for watching. Peace out.